What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to talk about some of the best accessories that you can get for your Sony FX30. Now, I've had the camera for just roughly over 5 months, give or take a couple of week or two. And I did take this camera with me to California for a convention. So these are the accessories that I use on a daily basis. So we're going to jump into this. Number one is obviously going to be lenses. So the lens that I'm using on this and have been using on pretty much all my other Sony cameras is the Sigma 60mm f1.4. It's an amazing lens across the board. Gives you great bokeh, great separation, and is a great starting lens for those looking to buy their first camera with a lens and body separate. This is highly recommended pretty much from almost anyone who uses a Sony camera. This is going to be one of the highly recommended camera lenses for just doing simple talking head videos like what I'm doing now. It gives you nice bokeh background, gives you nice separation, and in general, it's just a really good overall lens. Now, I did not take this with me to California when I went to VidCon. I did actually take this lens right here, and this is Sony's new 11mm f1.8. Now, this is an ultra wide lens, so basically what that means is in terms of background, you get a lot more exposure in the background with this lens because it is an ultra wide lens, but it is also a small compact lens. And what I love about it, it does give you these two little pieces right there. You can see it gives you the choice of autofocus or manual focus depending on how you have your FX30 set up, but I would generally leave it in the autofocus. And it does, if you ever want to do it in manual focus, it does have this nice little sliding ring that you can adjust. Now it is made of plastic, as with most of the just regular Sony lenses, unless you jump into the G Master lenses. But that's by no means mean that this lens does not perform well. This lens, when I had it with me when I was in Cali, did perfectly well. I was taking photos with this. I'm not much for taking photos with just with just cameras in general, but this thing did some really cool photos, and I'll probably drop a photo here or there, just so you can take a look at some of the photo qualities that I did. Now, these are just straight out of the camera. I didn't really do any editing with them, but there was one where I took a picture of a guy's Chevy pickup truck, and I had this lens on there, and just when the light was red, pulled out my camera, took a quick picture of it, and poof. And then when I was in Newport, did a few photos there also as well. But this lens is an amazing lens. I'd highly recommend both lenses if you don't already have them for your FX30. So next up we're going to be talking about is SD cards, and I do have a variety of them. I have my Sony ones, which I'm always using in my FX30. I did use, and from time to time I do use, the Lexar. These are the silver ones, not the other one. These are not the gold ones, which are the more professional ones. I don't use those. And then the ones that I don't really use anymore, but other than in my in my Insta360, that is the SanDisk ones. These ones I used to use in my Sony ZV-1 and in my A6400 before I started using the Lexars and the Sonys. Now there is a difference in terms of read and write speeds. So the SanDisk has a read and write speed. These are the pros of 170. I don't know if the camera will pick that up, but there's 170 megabyte read and write speed for that one. Whereas with the Lexar, it is a 250. And then with the Sony Tough Card, it is a 277. Now, also in terms of read and write speeds, you'll notice on the back of the Lexar and the Sony, you get those two data strips. Whereas with the Extreme Pro, you're only getting one. That just means that in terms of data transfer speeds, the Lexar and the Sony are going to be much faster. Now, which is better between the two? I don't really know. I just like the Sony ones because they're a little bit thicker. So if I were to drop this, it'll take a little bit more of a beating than the Lexars. They still feel just like your normal regular SD cards. But again, it's going to depend on your price, where you want to go and spend the money. Otherwise, I got these when they were on a really good sale at Best Buy. They were like, I think, $60 for a 128. Whereas with the 256 Lexar, I think it was on sale for around the same price. So it got a lot more with this one versus this one. Otherwise, primarily just use the Sony ones in there. Otherwise, again, it depends on which one you want to use and which one you think is going to be better for you as a content creator. Otherwise, that's my SD cards. And again, I primarily use the Sony in those. Next up we're going to talk about is cages. Now this is the cage that I use for my FX30. Now obviously there's one from Tilta, and there's another one from, there's different versions of this from Small Rig, and it really depends on which one you buy. It's kind of funny, when they first came out with the rigs for the FX30, people were talking about how they were looking distressed and they looked a little worn. When I ordered mine, it was just straight black, just kind of what I've had before from pretty much any other FX or from any other small rig cage I've ever bought for any other Sony camera. Now, what sets this one apart from other cages is, if you notice, this one is just a half cage. That is because there's a NATO rail that actually comes with this, that attaches on the top of the FX30, that you can use separately or with the rig. Now, the one thing I am going to gripe out when it comes to FX or for the small rig is these side screws. They actually will fall out once you take them off of the camera. They do tend to want to fall out. Not so much the one on the right side, but the one on the left side. If you move it around, it will pop out, which means you end up having to buy or getting another screw. I don't know why it does that, but I noticed that when I first put it on, it does pop out. Now, it's not a big deal, because once you secure the bottom with the bottom half and then the one on the side, it's still perfectly secure. It's just that sometimes this will tend to get loose when you pull it off of the camera. It will fall off. Otherwise, it does come with a cold shoe right there, as well as a host of other quarter thread screws there, as well as there. It also comes with a HDMI clamp, which is this right here. And basically what you do is you simply just attach this to the FX30. So if you're running a camera monitor, you don't have to worry about the HDMI cord falling out in the middle of your recording. Otherwise, when you're swapping out the batteries, the one thing that I love about the small rig is that when you flop out the bottom of the battery door, it won't go all the way out because it's being blocked by this. There's a little lever right here, and I just discovered this like 3 weeks after I bought the small rig, that as soon as you slide that over, then the door automatically, when you open the door, it fully opens, and you can just drop out the battery, pop another one in, and then you simply just close that. Otherwise, that is the small rig. And again, I'll have a link down below for all the accessories that I'm talking about. Otherwise, the NATO rail thing is really cool. And what I love about that is I can attach a handle to the camera, and I can carry it around the camera like a normal handheld. If I want to do some low shots or some really cool steady video, I can use it with that, and I will show you what that looks like. So this is another product from Small Rig, and no, I'm not sponsored by Small Rig. Be nice to, but you know, I just love their products. Otherwise, this is the handle that I bought separately with the cage. This is just a simple top rig handle. The cool thing about this is that you can switch it to a 90-degree angle. So this is like your normal kind of way, and then if you just simply turn this dial, now you have it flip the other way. So even with your camera lens facing forward, you can pick it up this way. You can really do some really cool vertical and really just kind of get in depth with your videos. Otherwise, the NATO rail, which is this right here, does come with the small rig cage, and you simply can just slide this on as such, just like that. And there's a little bump right here, so you can't really go any further. And then once you get it on, there's a little lever right here. You simply just twist that, and once that's clamped down, then that's it. Otherwise, you simply just attach this to the small rig cage, and then you get yourself a makeshift rig. Otherwise, that is the cage from Small Rig for this. Next up, now we're going to talk about is it's not really much of a necessity or a necessary accessory for the FX30, but it's something I like to mention because I know there's like a lot of solo creators out there who will use these for rig setups, for kind of doing their videos for however they want to do it. That I use is the Free World. This is the LUT 6. This is a full touch 4K capable camera monitor, and it does come with an SD card slot right here on the bottom. And what you can do with the SD card slot is this allows you to upload your own LUTs directly into the camera monitor, so you can see what the LUT will look like and how it'll affect the video before you go into post-edit if you want to edit it with the LUT. Otherwise, I don't know if you can actually embed the LUT into the video. I know you can do that from the FX30 if you're going to do it that way. So there's like kind of twofold ways of doing it. So you can actually upload your own customizable LUT into the camera itself and see it through the camera as opposed through the camera monitor, and you can embed it through there, but otherwise this just allows you to see it through the monitor if you want to see that. That way you can swap out your different types of LUTs depending on the situation that you're using it for. Otherwise, you do have two HDMI inputs right there. You have a quarter thread there, and then there's one on the top. You also got a nice little mini fan right there, so if it ever got hot, it would just simply just make sure that the monitor is cool. So when you're touching it, it's not overheating, and then everything then becomes, it can't do anything other than it'll just shut down. Now it takes just the simple. These are the NP-FF960 batteries, I believe is what these are. That's what the batteries are that you can use for this. Now, I got these off of eBay. These are pretty inexpensive. I got them in a 2-pack for I think around $50, and that just simply just plugs directly in to the head unit the camera monitor itself, like such. And you know it's on because there's a little red light over there. Otherwise, if you want to remove the battery, there's a button right there on the side. You simply press up on that, and then you just pull up, and that's it. Now again, like I said, the camera monitor is not a necessity when it comes to accessories for the FX30, but if you wanted one, I would recommend just getting any one. I would recommend getting the Atmos Ninja, as you can actually record ProRes into that monitor, whereas with this one you cannot. So there is that. Now, next up we're going to talk about is mics. Now, I have several mics that I use for various reasons. I'm using the Rode Wireless Go 2 mics into my FX30, but I also have the Rode Wireless Go mics, the original ones, and then I also have a shotgun mic that I use sometimes if I want to do any type of just live recordings. I can use that, but pretty much they all will simply just plug into a 3.5mm plug-in, and they all work perfectly fine. I use the Rodes. There's obviously also the Sony versions, and then there's the Sennheisers, and then there's the D80. So pretty much any one of those is perfectly fine, but I'll drop a link down below for my recommendations if you don't want to buy the Rode Wireless Go 2 mics. Other than that, that's all that I got for you guys today. Oh, wait, sorry. Batteries. So obviously you're going to need a lot of batteries. They're just the simple NP-F or the NP-FZ100s, which are just, your typical Sony batteries. Now you can get dummy batteries for the FX30. I know that when the FX30 came out, it was kind of hard to get some because nobody made any and there was nothing really available. But there is some that you can get, and again, I'll drop a link down below for those if you want to take a look at those. Otherwise, I'd highly recommend getting extra batteries, especially if you're out in the field and you're doing a lot of recording. You can also get V-mounted batteries. Now, I'm still looking into those myself. Not really sure if I would ever want to turn my camera into something like that or I would need that. Otherwise, the dummy batteries work perfectly fine, especially when it comes to just doing talking head videos like this. So I want to thank everybody for watching this video. And again, if you're new to my channel, please think about hitting that subscribe button, hitting that bell notification. That way you don't miss content when I drop it. And if this video was helpful, please give me a thumbs up. These likes to help me create better content. And my name is Black Appeal the Apple Guy. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Enjoy your summer.